In the book, The Dance in America, Walter Terry writes, "The ephemeral nature of dance makes every method of recording its fleeing wonders a precious instrument. Words, symbol, films, these are the major methods of recording the action of dance. Drawing, sculpture and photographs, these are the major methods of recording movement pause, be it a quiet pose or the peak of a leap. Exactness in recording dance can be supplied by two methods: motion pictures for the recording of actual performance and notations, a dance script, for recording the choreography. Films are to dance what photograph records are to music. Towards the beginning of 20th century, the moving picture or the cinema offered an even more faithful documentation, with each moment shown in continuity as against the static single image of the photograph. And by the close of this century, videography brought easy and cheap access to filming complete movement sequence as a method of learning and teaching, of documenting compositions and choreography created by dancers. Everywhere, also the whole area of video art for dance. In the first quarter of 20th century, the movies began to be made to India. The early Indian silent movies developed out of the strong stage tradition of musicals that were already popular among both urban and the rural audience. These musicals trace their roots to the Uparupaka tradition, full of songs and dancing. The early movies continued to trend and were full of dance music sequences. With dancing going away from the temples, there was a new interest emerging for dance in the early 19th century. This not only brought concert dance in the theatres, but also manifested itself in cinema. Though silent films had some dancing, with the coming of talkies, dance became special. There were varieties of short films made, some of which dealt with dance exclusively. Some traditional dancers and Nattuvanars turned to the newly established and growing film industry in Madras, Chennai, and later in Bombay, that is Mumbai, for better opportunities in earning a living through dance. They provided dance and dance direction. The film Sairandhri, made in 1933, carried genuine Bharatnatyam. Ragini Devi and Gopinath performed a duet in Bharatnatyam for a Telugu film. Many dancers, especially from professional dance communities, made their way to cinema, and more meaningful dancing was introduced. Early commercial Indian cinema, almost till mid-1960s, often featured dances that were truly in Bharatnatyam and Kathak tradition by trained dancers. At times, specific dance items were shown, such as Alaripu, Tillana, Thumri and Tatkar, and so on. The movements accompanying music as well as the costumes were also an authentic to the tradition as possible. Gauri Ammai was the last Devadasi dancer of the Mylapore Kapaleshwar temple. Dancers Lakshmi Vishwanathan and her elder sister trained with her for 2 years. In the film Tyagabhumi, and the elder sister played the role of a character called Saroja, who danced Krishnani Vegamai Verai, the Tamil version of the famous Krishnani Begane Baro, as taught to her by Gauri Ammai. Composed by Papanasham Shivam and sung by dancer's mother. So here one has the actual record of a dance piece, the way it was interpreted by one of the senior most exponents of the dance style. Some of the well-known films in which classical dances can be seen are Rajanartaki, Mughal-e-Azam, Chandralekha, Navrang, Janak Janak Payal Baje, Guide, Pakiza, Prince, Nache Mayuri, Jalbin Banchli Nritya Bin Bijli, Tisri Kasam, Kinara, Sargam, Umrao Jaan, Devdas, latest in the generation may be Aaja Na Chale. Here, the main heroine often played the role of an accomplished dancer or a person who expresses herself through dance. In the film itself, did not have a dancer-based story. There were also scripts that accommodated songs and sequences with classical dance. An example is the killing of Dushasana episode from Kathakali in Shyam Benegal's Kaliyug to portray the state of mind of the character in the film watching the performance. There have been films made by dancers such as Uday Shankar's classic Kalpana, and documentary films on dancers made by directors like Satyajit Ray's stature, such as on Bala Saraswati, Kumar Sahani's film on Kelucharun Mahapatra, and so many others. Many regional films in the South Indian language, Tamil, Malayalam, Kannada and Telugu, often use the classical dances themselves. Towards the beginning of 20th century, the moving picture of the cinema offered an even more faithful documentation with each movement shown in continuity as against the static single image of the photograph. And by the close of the century, videography brought easy and cheap access to the filming complete movement sequences as a method of learning and teaching, of documenting compositions and choreography created by dancers everywhere. With the dance and technology offered and mastered as special subjects in major learning teaching institutes, almost all choreographers use video film projections for their creations today. Almost all performances are videographed. The development and coming of television and video technology and its interplay with the arts have created newer and wider possibilities in all the areas of artistic creativity, be it choreography, presentation or preservation. It has played an important role for the record and revival of dance. The dance performances are recorded and the dances are specially designed for the camera. The teleserial like Nupur or Shilapatikaram have revived the image of ancient past. In the serials and narratives, one finds ample use of all kinds of dances. The video recording of travelers and amateurs are at times amazingly sensitive and provide detailed dance activity hitherto unseen. They have become professional tools for capturing the never to be repeated dance and virtual evidence of existing dance activity. Photographs offer indisputable evidence of existing realities and dance with the artistic interpretation of the photographer. There are numerous photographs available of the Devadasis, Nautch girls, in the late 19th and 20th centuries taken by the foreign travelers. During their stay, they seem to have captured interesting images of life in India. They clearly indicate the style, audience, body dynamics, dress and jewelry, the accompanying musicians and even dance postures. Some of the pictures clearly show the limitations in the scope of movements due to dress styles, space limitations and so on. The most sensitive picture of the great dancers are imaginatively captured by photographers which immortalize both the dance and the dancers. Today, we have world-renowned photographers like Avinash Pasricha, Suresh Parekh capturing the essence of dance movements in their artwork. The dancers consider themselves privileged if photographed. Moment notations of Indian classical dance. Though dance is considered mother of all arts and man has danced forever, there has been not many tools developed to preserve and document it. The notation of dance movement is recent and can be perfected much more. The Egyptian hieroglyphs, Indian temple sculptures, literature and paintings, the Greek and Roman frescoes and ceramics all show dancers and dance movements. They are evidence of how dance must have been performed. But did any of these seriously noted dance, or they are mere decorative figures? Perhaps they were recording the event of the past and present and at times future. The first era of dance notation began by 15th century in the form of letter writing. In the West, in India, not notation but verbal description of various body movements were articulated in the numerous technical texts of the field. Though for a long time, almost till 17th and 18th century, they described movements and a few varied dances. During all stages of evolution of the dance forms in India, attempts were made to codify and record them. One may have said that nowhere else in the world exists such a rich store of documentation of the kind that exists in India. As we have seen earlier, a large part of it is in the form of descriptive literature about various techniques beside the physical movement, which of course are the main constituents of the dancing. Bharata's Natya Shastra is universally acknowledged as the inexhaustible wonder of the world of dancing. It contains meticulous analysis of dance techniques. A good number of texts and manuals are written in the regional language as well as Sanskrit closely following. But it appears that no script for dance was evolved in India. The act of dance was learned and practically under the direct guidance of the Guru, the teacher. It was always a practical transformation with memory as the only repository. The system of handing down an art form through successive generations of a family had and has many merits. From the very early years, a child can absorb a lot from the ambience around by seeing and hearing. Later, while growing up, systematic training is given by the elders for about 20 years. Meanwhile, one starts performing with the seniors and the mentors. It is thus that a classical style is imbibed through practical training. Texts like the Natya Shastra contain descriptions of movements and gestures, but they do not reveal the exact manner in which they are aligned as concert number. We do not have a meticulous record of choreographic patterns. In other words, we do not have any system of dance notations. The name of dance items such as Pushpanjali or Navasandhi, Mukachali and the like are mentioned in many texts. None of them is notated to reveal the exact manner in which time and space were utilized. There have been and are many who have tried to preserve the art of dance, dedicating long hours, perhaps a lifetime, to capture the essence of movement. There are many who have not invented new systems, but perfected and utilized the already existing ones. Dance notations and choreographics mean writing or drawing of dance. There have been many approaches, presentations using different symbols. Each one records on paper the elements of movements. The structure of any dance notation system must have provision for form, rhythmic movement, dynamic quality, style and expression. It must point out the details of movement for each limb, simultaneous and separate, space levels with visuals and kinesthetic associations. Rudolf von Laban's first attempt, shorthand for the type of space harmonies with which he was involved, gave way to a more universal approach to the recording of movement. This developed in two stages into the system which basically has remained unchanged despite further developments. Any visual representation of movement on paper provides obvious advantages. The Laban system contains more visuality in its structure than may have first be apparent. The Laban system has been developed on a universally based analysis of movement, thus making it suitable for all forms of human movement. Although the system is generally presented through commonly understood spatial description of limb placement, the basis of its analysis is as scientific as those which proceed from a wholly mathematical concept. Universality in development and application of the Laban system has been guaranteed by the fact that the system is not the product of one person's ideas. Many different people working in a variety of movement disciplines have contributed to it from their own experiences. It had a widespread trial under a broad variety of situations. Only from such a healthy growth has taken place. Spread of the Laban system has provided such trial through its professional application in recording choreography of many types, classical and contemporary, as well as ethnic dance forms and non-dance activities such as sports, swimming, riding, etc. Not to mention its application to zoology. A significant advantage in the Laban system is the fact that one symbol provides 4 pieces of information: the part of the body that moves, the direction and label, the moment when the movement begins and the duration of the movement. There is no change in the meaning of the symbol when they are applied to different forms of dances. The symbols are applicable to every form of movement. However, specialists in a particular form may evolve special usages for their needs, such as usages being carefully placement on the staff. Notating dance is by no means a simple task. To make a proper graph of the leg, ankle and the foot in action in proper tempo and sequence and with precise transference of weight is certainly next to impossible. If such a system is evolved, it certainly will be a high watermark in the history of choreography. Each creative guru with artistry and imagination introduced elements that gave rise to the different schools, banis, gharanas, ways and the stylistic differences. The important question is, can the whole area of dance movements be standardized in India? As in ballet, the pile of demi-piles remains the same in all countries, be it Italy, France, Japan or Britain. Will Aramandi be different in Delhi, Chennai, Baroda or New York? Will the definition of Pataka Hasta change in different schools and of Bharatanatyam? We fear the standardization may deter creativity, but perhaps it is the other way around. The ways of teaching, classifying and performing the adavus of Bharatanatyam have been slightly different through Tatya, Natta and Kutta remains the same. The teachers have their own way of interpreting them. Even in the same school, each student is able to learn, practice, perceive and execute a step with his or her own ability, physical structure, nature and of course nurture. Speciality of each school, be it Angashuddha, grace or softness of style, Tala with the choreography concentrating on the complicated cross-rhythmic patterns, or the emotional aspect with facial expression can easily be preserved while following a standard format. With an eye on the need for instruction, the dance technique are also codified and given appropriate names. For example, there are striking rhythmic syllables and terms for footwork and choreography, which are important elements of dance. In different dance forms, there are different rhythmic syllables which go by various names such as Vaithari or Cholakattu or Bol or Padanta and so on. One who has undergone training in a particular form can easily understand the footwork it represents from the sound of a rhythmic syllable. Tatkar in Teen Tala, Tattadavu and Nattadavu in Bharatanatyam are some of the innumerable terms. For an artist who has had adequate training, it is easy to translate such terms into movements. The terms facilitate teaching and memorizing greatly. This is documentation available to guide along this route. Where Bharatanatyam is in particular is concerned, it must be pointed out that a number of books and articles have been written on the various aspects of Bharatanatyam. A most enriching and futuristic research article by Lebanon experts Irmgard Barteneff, Peggy Hackney, Betty True-Jones, Judy von Zyl, Carl Wohls is The Potential of Movement Analysis as Research Tool, a preliminary analysis that has used the Cholaka-2 from the Mohiniyattam for analysis using Leban's effort shapes. The whole dance is noted directly using the Labo notations with detailed descriptive notes of cultural context and research methodologies. The idea was more exploratory. The movement analysis of Adavus and the movement analysis of the different schools of Bharatanatyam are the ongoing research projects since early 90s by the guide of the research work Professor Parul Shah and Professor Mary Alice Brennan. In her PhD thesis, Dr. Ami Pandya with her guide Professor Parul Shah has used Laban movement notations as a tool to notate all the adabus of Bharatanatyam. It definitely is hard, meticulous, detailed work of 6 years and perhaps first solid step towards the making of dance notations in India. Post-independence and in the 21st century, tremendous changes are taking place in all areas of life in India, which demand the preservation of important, vast and priceless heritage of performing arts and dance. The patterns are changing of the purpose of dance, the audience, the patronage, the dancers, in the relations between the gurus and the pupils, the teaching, the presentation and of course also the creation. So the traditional system of transmission can no longer be relied on to pass on to whole gamut of the great heritage and knowledge from the past. The question of the movement, notation and analysis is of prime importance.